Well, on the consumer front, Doug alluded to it there, some mixed signals coming this morning. Retail sales coming in stronger than expected, significantly seeing a near 2% boost in online shopping. Home Depot, key retailer, beating estimates, but the home improvement retailer did report a pullback on big ticket spending. So with us to discuss retail sales and the state of the consumer are Terry Lundgren, former Macy's CEO and founder and CEO of TJL Advisors. Also with us, Aditya Bhave. She's a senior U.S. economist with Bank of America. Thank you both for being here. Aditya, I'm going to start with you. I was really interested and intrigued to see those retail sales numbers today. And it got me wondering what the Fed is thinking. Is it possible we could see sort of a reacceleration of inflation?
This was a remarkable report. We were above consensus based on what we were seeing in our internal card data. And of course, the retail sales report came in even stronger than we were expecting. And you have to put that in the context of what was essentially zero inflation in July in the corresponding categories. So we're looking at real consumer spending around 1% in those categories in July, which obviously sets us up very, very well for third quarter GDP. So yes, from the Fed's perspective, they certainly want to be vigilant. They want to keep an eye on where inflation's going on a forward-looking basis. And that probably means they continue to push back against the timing and pace of rate cuts that the markets are pricing right now.
And Terry, help us sort of square what we heard from the government, retail sales, and then what we heard from Home Depot today. Certainly better than expected results nearly across the board. But when I spoke with CFO Richard McPhail and CEO Ted Decker on the call, was sort of talking about how there's still some caution with consumer spending when it comes to more discretionary categories, these big ticket items. So what's going on here with the consumer? Is the consumer strong or is it not? Or does it just depend on the category?
Well, Courtney, over the last year or two, we've been talking about how the consumer's savings account has been draining from the stimulus packages that were presented to them over the last couple of years. That in itself would have been a big issue. However, we've now gotten to a different place where we've got wage growth and people feeling secure about their jobs. And that is what's encouraging them to spend. So I think we're in a much better place today than I thought we would be several months ago, particularly with that wage growth number. And I think that's what we're seeing. As far as Home Depot's comments, you said it. I mean, they beat expectations. I think you're going to see a lot of retailers meet or exceed expectations, but in many cases, the expectations have been moderated. So they're in many cases, the top line sales are forecast to be negative to last year, and their inventory is in better shape, so they're going to be able to manage their earnings around expectations.
Terry, you're going to be delighted to hear that my son, who's applying to colleges, just applied to the University of Arizona, where it's the Lundgren Center for Retail. How about that? There you go.
Tyler, I'm going to give him a personal escort.
That's what I'm looking for, baby. That's what I'm looking for.
No question. I'm a personal recruiter to this campus.
All right, that's good.
Definitely take care of that.
Aditya, let me ask you and then Terry the same question, and that is this. A lot of people, as they look at the consumer behavior, are concerned about the resumption of student loan payments. How concerned are you, Aditya? How concerned are you, Terry? Aditya, you go first.
Sure. So we see that as a modest headwind to consumer spending, no more than that. For one, a lot of folks that have large amounts of student loans have also graduate degrees. They're a little bit older. They probably have a significant savings buffer. I think some people have already probably started to prepare for the resumption of repayments based on the fact that it's been so much in the news over the last few months. So from a forward-looking basis, especially given the 12-month on-ramp as well, we think it's a modest headwind that plays out over several quarters, but we don't think it is a factor that could potentially break this very constructive dynamic that we're seeing.
A constructive dynamic. Terry, do you see it that same way? How big a concern is it?
I think Aditya said it right, and he's got great insights, by the way, and on this subject. So I agree, and I also believe that in general, while consumer debt is high, what I look at is delinquency rates, and delinquency rates are actually at a 20-year low. So people are paying off their debts. They are winding down those high interest, high credit card debts, and so I think this is going to not be a major problem for us as we look forward.